Hello, everybody. As I said, we are going back to the 80s, and we will start with a very classic 80s movie. I am Enzo, this is my forever co-host John, and yeah, we're doing Back to the Future, the first one, directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox as Doc Brown and Marty McFly. Sorry, Marty McFly. God, I'm confused with Rick and Morty for some reason.
Morty McFly.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, Doc.
Oh, gee, Doc. I mean, that was the concept, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was Marty and
Yeah.
Doc. Yeah.
But how did you get introduced to Back to the Future?
Man, I got introduced to Back to the Future too organically. I don't remember how or when. It wasn't by choice. I just saw it on Star Movies and HBO, and it was a fun time. I remember it was like one of the first movies that I watched that tackled time travel and how cool it would be if you would go back into the past, met your parents when they were your age. It would be crazy what you could have done back in the day.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I watched this during lockdown for the first time. Yeah. I'd never seen it until lockdown. Yeah, I know all the references, but like, I'd just never seen it or made, no pun intended, made time. So, perfect time it was lockdown. It's like, you know what? I've never seen these movies. Ever. How dare I?
what the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
Trusted you to be a cinephile, and you never saw Back to the Future?
Yeah, all of them were on Netflix. I'm like, alright, I have all the time in the world. I binged all of them, and they're pretty good. To be fair, they're all pretty good in my opinion. Like, there's none weaker, there's none stronger. I like them all equally. Maybe
I do like the cowboy one, even though people hate it.
Yeah. But yeah, I just had a grand old time, and for that time being the height of lockdown in the Philippines, it's like, there is light after the tunnel. It's just so far away.
If only we had a time machine.
Exactly. But yeah, I love how this movie opens up with... oh, by the way, did you know the studio didn't want this to be called Back to the Future? They picked the title the spaceman from Pluto. And Spielberg, since he's an executive, or I think a producer, is like, funny title, no. And they're like, oh, okay, what Spielberg says goes.
Wait, what was the name of
the man from
the
Pluto?
man from...
Spaceman from Pluto?
Why?
I don't know. I really don't know.
It doesn't like Back to the Future already doesn't make sense,
right? But it's so like catchy thanks to the success of this movie. You're like, that makes sense. Man from Pluto was like, where's the Pluto, or what man?
Yeah, like he only wears like the PPE suit like once and then pretends to be a space person once.
Yeah.
Twice.
But yeah, I do like the foreshadowing in the opening. Like, you hear about the missing plutonium, you see a man hanging from a clock, and you're like, huh, like the ending of this movie. Cool.
Yeah.
And you meet Marty McFly, played by Michael J. Fox, and you get the sense that he hangs out with Doc Brown a lot, and you're like, I won't question that. It's the 80s. It's fine.
Yeah, you have friends with rich people for some reason.
Yeah. And he is sort of like a troublemaker at school, and his family situation, his dad's in not the best situation because he can't stand up for himself against Biff, and Biff is a bully, for lack of a better term. And he like plays someone we all know in the second one, but for now he is the main antagonist of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's so many quotable lines from the beginning, like, McFly, hello, McFly.
You're knocking somebody's head. But like, we do get a good look at the 80s life, the suburban life.
Yeah.
You see Marty McFly skateboarding to school, auditioning for the talent show, and all that. And I'm like, this is kind of shame though, because that was a time where like rock wasn't really,
prominent,
the best. Yeah, like nobody really liked that. So when he was like ripping up, I was like, no, that's not appropriate for the talent show. But that is an actual talent. So
yeah, but he has a relationship with Jennifer, even though his mom doesn't approve, and you're like, okay, I get this life.
Yeah. And like, you see the dreams that Marty wants. He wants a car. He wants a better house. But
Doc does tell him to meet him at the mall at like 1 a.m. and he does, and that's where he shows him.
Bring the camera.
Yeah, bring a camera. That's where he shows him the DeLorean, and like it is a cool looking machine and has done did DeLorean the brand wonders. Even the CEO thanked Zemeckis. It's like thank you for bringing light to this wonderful car. Even though we all know what a DeLorean's like, unfortunately.
It is a horrible car. From what I've heard, it sucks
Yeah.
as a daily car or like as a car on its own. But it looks great. It captured the whole, I would say, 80s sci-fi style.
Yeah.
And I love it. And Hyundai had like a concept car where it does kind of look like a DeLorean. It's very 80s retro inspired. Sadly,
Yeah.
it's just a concept car. I don't think they're going to sell it to the masses. Hyundai, if ever you watch us, please release it. We want it. I want it, even though I can't afford it.
Yeah. Like the first time I laid my eyes on the DeLorean, the time machine, I was like, I need a figure of that because it just looks so cool.
Yep. Same here. I would love to have like a model.
And the
for it.
effects of it traveling through time, and you're like, yeah, it's definitely the 80s with a mix of like practical and CGI. Like the tire tracks are just gas lit on fire, and you're like, yep, that makes sense.
They had CGI when trail of fire would go between Marty McFly's and Doc's legs because the fire is hitting Marty's legs, but he's not reacting. It's 80s.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah. But they bring a dog back in time. Like,
He's
to the
stuck, he
past.
disintegrated Einstein. He's like, he's fine.
He's fine. Ah, God. I keep forgetting that 80 miles is completely different speed compared to 80 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, when I was thinking about it, I was like, 80 miles an hour is not that bad. I keep forgetting a few times that's like, what, 140 kilometers or something like that. I don't know if I'm getting my like calculations wrong or right.
But
yeah.
they set the rules, right? Like you choose where you want to go, and it shows you where you come from and where you want to be. You can see the first Christmas. You can see the signing of Declaration of Independence. Just go 80 miles per hour, and you need 12.1 gigawatts of electricity.
Gigawatts,
That's
which
why.
is where you get plutonium.
Yeah.
Like,
Is this
radioactive plutonium, bro.
Is this radioactive? No, I just need it for the electricity. Oh, okay. But he stole it from Libyan terrorists, and you're like, oh. And then when he gets killed, I like paused Netflix. I was like, he's in the second one though. What the fuck?
What happens? But yeah, Marty goes back. He went to the 1950s.
Yeah.
And man, I don't think this was appropriate for children.
No. You forget how metal 80s movies can be, or like really inappropriate they can
right?
be.
Yeah, so like these were concepts that was never heard.
Yeah.
Like in today's standards, like we would have never done this in today's standards, where Marty McFly goes into the past, and to get back into the future, he has to meet the younger Doc Brown.
Yeah.
So he does, but in the process, he runs into his dad, who was being a peeping Tom.
And his dad still can't stand up for himself. Like, yeah, that what the mayor said of like, if you can't stand up for yourself now, it's gonna haunt you forever. He's like, it's fine. Like,
Yeah.
it's not. No, it's not fine. You can't,
No, it's not fine.
Can't let Biff bully you around forever. And he's like, no, it's fine. He's just getting around. Like, no, stop it.
Yeah,
But he is a
in the
peeping
process
Tom.
of in the process of peeping the Tom, he falls off the tree, almost gets run over. But instead of him, like in the story with
His
at the
parents.
beginning, where how his parents met,
It's-
Marty was the one who got hit by the car,
And then he
and
wakes up.
Marty was the one who woke up in her bedroom in his underwear.
It's like, is her name
I-
Calvin Klein?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I took your pants off, Calvin. Why do you keep calling me that? It's on your it's on your underwear.
You're Lorraine. You're haha. You're haha. You're like, Jesus Christ.
My mom. Like, oh, no. I was like, oh no.
This is my baby brother. And he's like, get used to those bars, kids. You're like, Jesus.
Yeah, like it's in prison all the time.
Yeah. And then she's like, can Marty stay here in my room? And he's like, no, yeah, I'm going. Bye.
Ooh, the 50s are crazy
Yeah.
with what they allowed. They weren't that conservative, I guess.
And then yeah, he meets Doc Brown and he's like, "Prove you're from the future. Who's the president? Ronald Reagan, the actor."
Yeah, was he an actor?
Yeah, he was an actor before. You didn't
I
notice?
didn't know that.
Yeah, he's an actor.
I'm not good with American presidents because I don't live in America.
He tells Doc Brown what happened. And he's like, "Oh, we don't have plutonium. I don't know if it's free in every drugstore in 1980, but it's not free here." He's like, "Okay, then what do we do? We have to get that power from a lightning strike." And he's like, "Oh, funny enough, a lightning strike's gonna hit
Yeah.
next Saturday."
Yeah, on prom night.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah,
like,
so
"I'll just
yeah.
chill in the 1950s. And just walk around." He's like, "No, you can't meet anyone from the past. That will have devious consequences. Have you met anyone?" He's like, maybe my mom and my dad." And you see the picture, it's like fading, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, we have to fix
Yeah.
that right now."
Because the reason why they're disappearing is because the mom's in love with her son.
Such an odd concept, but like you're like, you know what? I'll let it
It
pass.
is.
I'll let it pass.
Yeah, just imagine being in the boardroom. It's like, I got an idea.
Like I get the time
If
traveling.
y'all know that John Mulaney skit, you could rewatch that.
Yeah, I get the time traveling stuff, but like Zemeckis having to explain to Spielberg of like, "Oh, and then he has to do this," and he's like, "What?"
He has to pretend like he wants to fuck his mom. Spielberg was just like, nice.
Sure. Let's go nuts, go nuts.
Yeah.
It is the 80s. Anyway, but yeah, the whole mission from that Saturday or that weekend to the next Saturday is like, please, you have to ask Lorraine to the dance. It's crucial. And George is not like, why? Why you care about this so much? He's like, no, you have to. Come on, man. Shoot your shot. And he's like, fine. But every time he does, Lorraine's like, oh, it's Calvin again. You're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Marty McFly just by default is a cool person. Takes
Yeah.
care of the bullies on his own, right? Just skateboard, makes Biff crash into a manure truck, make him hate manure.
Yes. That's a thing he'll carry on with him forever now. You're like, oh, okay, I like this. Backtracking.
Onto the future and the past.
Yeah. But no, he then tells George this weird story of like, hey, you know what makes people angry is that if you force yourself on them. So that's what I'm gonna do to my date, and you'll have to stop it. And you're like, the fuck?
Yeah. I'm like, sorry. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, that's actually a good lesson, though.
And then,
If any kid were to watch this back, like, if they were to watch Back to the Future, they get the point of, like, hi,
consent is
don't
the
touch
key.
anyone without their consent. Whether it be a boy or a girl, do not touch anyone without consent.
Yeah. Though he does see Doc Brown watching the video of him that night, and he's like closing it, like, I don't want to know what happens. Like, but I have to tell. It's like, no, I don't want to know. It's like, okay, but I
All
no. But yeah, there's a weird story of like him having to drive Lorraine to the high school dance, and hoping George gets the stomach to stand up to Marty. Otherwise, he's like, God, you drink. Jesus, you smoke.
Yeah. When, like, at the beginning of the movie, the mother was very, like, conservative. She was very, by the book.
Yeah.
But here, you're like, oh, shit, she rebellious.
Yeah.
Deal. You're like, damn, Marty, I didn't know you were such a square.
Yeah.
Ugh, something you don't want to hear in the 50s.
Right. And then, unfortunately, the person who opens the car is not George. It's Biv.
I know. Yeah.
And his gang take Marty to the back of someone's truck, and they're like, "Boy, what you doing to my car?"
I think we're glossing over the fact that Lorraine did kiss Marty.
Oh yeah. Oh, fuck. That's something I raised. I'm
And
just
she was like,
it's like I'm kissing
my brother. I was like, oh,
I was watching it like,
back in,
that's your mom, bro.
back in the day, I didn't really bat an eye on the concept because I was a kid, and then now I grew up, I'm like, oh, fuck, that's gross.
The part when she stops and she's like, I just get the feeling I'm kissing my brother. Like, ugh. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway,
What is it with the
Biff walks
80s
in.
and yeah, siblings can kiss with Empire and this, or like,
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, Biff comes in and gives us the most uncomfortable scene in the entire movie, besides the mom kissing his kid, her son.
yeah,
Where Biff really does, but
force himself.
puts his
Yeah. But like George tries to stop them, but it's fortunately for George, it's Biff and not Marty, and he's like, ah shit. He gets gut punched, but he summons his Popeye strength to deck him in the jaw, and Biff just goes.
Yeah, just knocks him out.
Yeah. Even like since I watched the movie, like I was like, wow, that's a nice way to break your hand, but sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But he saves Lorraine. Lorraine, I am your density. Or that sticks with it. They go to the dance. Sadly, one of the band members, the guitarist, broke his hand. Or sorry, cut his hand.
Yeah, trying to free Marty.
To get Marty. Yeah, trying to free Marty out of the back of the car. But of course, if they can't sing, they won't kiss. If they don't kiss, he doesn't exist.
And then Marty starts disappearing. You're like, do. Like, oh no, he's blaming Thanos. Funny enough, because Alan Silvestri does score Avengers, and it does score this movie as well. And you're like, I can't believe you made 3 iconic scores with this, Predator, and the Avengers later on in life. It's accomplished composer. But yeah, he has to sing, but like some weird guy's like, I got your date now. Ha ha. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. What did he do to him again? Did he like knock him out? Or...
Just pushed him.
Okay. Yeah, he ain't no pushover no more.
Yeah. We get the Marty thing of like, I guess you guys aren't ready for that.
Where he steals Johnny Be Good from the black community.
Cultural appropriation. And George and Lorraine do kiss, and like the picture goes back to normal. Lorraine just like, Marty, what a nice name. And like at the same time, Doc's looking at the clock being like, great Scott, where is that boy?
But he does make it.
Yeah, but literally the last minute of this movie, you're just like gripping your seats. It's like, I thought he passed. Is he not going to hit 80 miles per hour? Is lightning not going to strike? Does he not have enough electricity? Like when Doc's hanging out and then he sees like the lower end is disconnected and he's like, ah! Like, for fuck's sake.
I love the comedic chops of
Christopher Lloyd.
And like his entire performance here.
Yeah.
But yeah, same here. Like I knew that this is gonna have a good ending, but at the same time, like,
yeah, and
how are they
Marty
gonna do it?
can't start the car. You're like, for fuck's sake, why?
Yeah. And then Doc had to be a conductor, so
Yeah.
Immediately gets shocked, but yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah. And then he does make it back in time and does try to save Doc, but he thinks he's too late. And Doc's like, he's just playing dead. He's like, just kidding. And you're like, you fucking jerk. I was like, I read your note.
He crashes the Libyan van.
Yeah.
It was a Volkswagen. But anyway.
Yeah, Doc's like, I know I said I didn't want to know, but I was like, fuck it. I'll take destiny into my own hands.
Yeah. Which is a bad thing, isn't it?
To change your destiny like that?
Yeah, just to mess it up. Like, you're not supposed to know, but plot,
Like, man,
they just let him have it.
We all know that time travel movies are always inconsistent like that. Like, when in Endgame, when Cap meets Cap, you're like, why isn't the universe melting?
Yeah, right? Like, why isn't it just crumbling upon itself?
Yeah. You're like, you know what, if Doc Brown can be like, just kidding, I took your advice, Cap can meet Cap, and it's fine.
Yeah.
And then
he goes back to his own...
It's radically changed.
Yeah, slightly changed. Man has a new truck, Toyota Hilux. Good choice.
He has his brother's doing.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
His brother's doing fine. Biff is their, I guess, worker, butler.
Guy who just works for his dad.
I guess he's like, no, Biff, don't con me. Just saying he put on the second coat. He's like, yes, Mr. McFly, I'm just putting it right now. Like, yeah, seriously, right?
Yeah, and he goes on that date with his girlfriend on the lake.
No, he doesn't, because Doc comes back and he's like, your kids are a little bit crazy. We have to go back to the future. It's like, there's not enough space for this road. He's like, roads? We don't need roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads. And just puts on the glasses.
How they solve Link to the Future.
To 2015.
Yeah.
I think we all got conned.
Homie, 2015 is like 8 years ago.
I'm still waiting for a lot of those. I'm still waiting for fucking hoverboard.
You got a sorry excuse for a hoverboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not a fan of flying cars because I feel like that'll be a little too complicated to have traffic laws in the sky.
It's fine. They'll get used to it. I'm sure there's like a barrier to make it stop. Like it's AI controlled, help. I'm sure there's like a magic to stop cars from crashing into each other.
I guess so, but man, there's already a shit ton of shitty drivers in the Philippines. Just imagine if they're in the sky. You see a floating Mirage crash into a house.
Just turning way too fast or way too slow. You're like, fuck you! I mean, what?
Yeah. you see a flying Jeep stop midway just to drop off somebody.
That's enough complaining about our country.
Yep.
But yeah, this is a very, for lack of a better term, iconic, famous movie with very famous lines like, you built a time machine out of a DeLorean, or Great Scott. Or like, it's just endlessly quotable, and it's just a great movie in general. Like, even though we had a weird ass plot point with the mom and the mom kissing Marty and all that shit, you're like, it's still a good movie.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Everything being said, what would you rate Back to the Future?
Man, I love this movie. It's so rewatchable. You could put it down for Christmas, Halloween, God knows what.
Yeah.
And just have a good time. Make fun of the concepts of like how crazy 80s movies were.
Yeah.
And just have fun. The whole trilogy on its own is such a ride, and it's not that long. It's like I had a marathon with this thing, and it took us 6 hours, and it flew by just like that.
Yeah.
And it was a great movie. By the way, if you live in the Philippines and by chance you're at like Carrera near in Muntinlupa, there's a bar there. There's a cafe there called Carrera, and they sometimes showcase a DeLorean out in display. So it's pretty good. Wait,
not flying, right? Or time traveling, right?
Well,
okay.
Don't know. I have never seen the owner. If the owner's like a white guy with like white hair and going crazy in a lab coat, then yeah, sure, it might fly.
What was your rating again?
I didn't give it a rating yet. Okay. Sorry. I give it a solid 8 out of 10. This is a good time.
Yeah.
You cannot go wrong with this movie. Odd concepts, cultural appropriation, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, 8 out of 10.
Yeah. You know what? I'll also give this an 8 out of 10. Like, aside from the weird stuff, it is a good time to just relax and just sit down. It's not as heavy as what Marty keeps saying in Doc Brown's like, why is everything so heavy in the 80s? What's wrong with the gravity in the earth?
No, it's just the same, Doc.
Yeah. Endlessly quotable, fun to watch, fun for the whole family of a certain age, yeah. And the entire trilogy is just like a very solid watch, as you said. So yeah.
Yeah.
This is our first entry to our 80s lineup. I hope you like the rest. I know Jomer's waiting for one of them, or can't wait to do one of them soon. But yeah, for now, that's been our video for the first Back to the Future. What do you guys think? Please be cool. If you want to see more of us on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on TikTok and Spotify. TikTok to see our best and funniest moments. Spotify to hear us on the go. Who knows? Maybe you can listen to us while you're in a flying DeLorean in the future.
In the future. Yeah, in the future.
Yeah. Not 5 years from now, definitely. I would be surprised if we had flying cars then.
I really hope we would adapt to the style of like retro 80s kind of way of dressing with crazy hair, leather jacket, spike on your heads. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, individually you can find my Kindolphus 1995 on Twitter. How about you?
Or you can find me at JomJ11 on Instagram. That is my mark.
Yeah, and until the next 80s movie, we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.